Nox Box, everything you need to take your game from the box to the board.
Hi guys, welcome to Nox Box. I am Nock himself. With me today is Cordial Rob.
Hello.
Today we are looking at the Putrid BlightKings. These are for Warhammer Fantasy Battles, specifically for the End Times kind of campaign they've got going on at the moment. But they are available to be used in basically any Chaos Army.
Chaos Beasts, Chaos Demons, and Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. Beast meant everything. So yeah, should we crack them open and have a look?
Okay, so Putrid BlightKings, those who follow Nurgle. Starting with the box as always, we've got a nice banner and a nice selection of fairly colourful, possibly cheerful behind their face mask characters.
Is that one grinning? Oh, I like the grinning Cyclops one.
Spinning over, we've got some of the detail and highlights of the models.
Are these ones much more armoured on the back?
No, these ones look like they've usually got something replacing their guts. So, Nurglings, Bells of Nurgle, or just general detail by the look of it. So if we crack open the box... Everyone's favourite bag.
Whoa! That's a base and a half, isn't it?
Well,
Is that 4 normal?
when I initially saw them, I thought they were monstrous infantry, but then I actually looked through the rulebook and they're actually just infantry, which I was quite surprised about, because, you know, I thought they were quite similar to Varkheist and things like that, size-wise. So if we start with the booklet, Putrid BlightKings. So
how many different BlightKings does that make, actually? I know there's 5 in the set.
There's 5 in the set, but it looks like there's quite a bit of variant.
Well, look at the very front again. I believe, is that 10 different bodies?
Well, if you look at the front of the box, you've got those 5 there.
Yeah.
Then if I quickly spin round,
You have a different 5 on the
it
back?
looks like a different 5
Wow.
completely. So it looks like, you know, a lot of individuality is possible in this kit. So, you know.
How to make them, the normal musician. Actually, I do like the musician of this one with a giant bell over his shoulder. Looks cool.
Well, that's in theme with the rest of the Nurgle army. Because it's bells on the Plague Bearers, isn't it? And then you've got your stats as well, which are also included in the previous White Dwarf, I believe.
So you've got... Oh, yeah, the different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chaos Armour. Oh, I do like that equipment array of weaponry. Right, well, we'll talk about the actual models afterwards, the stats afterwards.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the figures.
Okay, this is a 3 sprue kit. So starting with sprue 1, if I just quickly spin it over, we've got your musical bell, some of the bodies. There's one of the heads you were looking at earlier on.
Oh, wow, that really is like a Nurgling head just been transplanted.
Well, I quite like, they seem to have sort of gut plates, because for me, these seem quite like ogres, maybe a little smaller, but you see what I mean.
Actually, I'm not sure smaller. I think they might be a similar size.
We'd have to do a comparison
Yeah,
between model and model. But things like the giant axes, your tentacles with little bells on.
Who doesn't like just extra tentacles on sprues?
And then the backs of the shields. So, you know, for this sort of kit, I think it's going to be very nice to paint. So if I quickly swap to the next sprue. So here's a bit more. So if you want glistening effects, it'll be the old gloss. You'll have your rust effects. You'll have your mud effects. Blood. Here's the one with the bell. And then you've...
Oh, that's an open stomach, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's one that's got a closed stomach, but it's got a Nurgling popping out and things like that.
See, the new GW plastic kits, I say they're new, they've been doing them for the last few releases now.
Yeah.
They're outstanding, the different options.
Oh yes, the only thing I would say is there are a lot more options than actually bodies in this box.
Yes, there are, yeah.
If they did a thing where they sold extra bodies and maybe, you know, then you use up the rest, otherwise you end up with quite a large bits box with these sorts of
For Nurgle, a large bits box basically means a free beast of Nurgle, right?
Yeah. There's the bodies and the chainmail. I always like how they do chainmail for GW.
Yeah.
And then
Quality of the sculpts are amazing.
there's the champion
eyes.
scythe, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite a nice looking one. And then you've got... That reminds me of the old Sorcerer of Chaos head on Steam.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yes.
Yeah.
Although, I love the giant elk horns.
spinning over, we've got the back of what looks like crab claws, amusing enough, but you know, if you're a worshipper of chaos, mutations come and go.
Yeah, those kind of insectoid parts.
Yeah.
Which works with the whole blight drones and the flies of Nurgle.
Well painted, these will tie in really nicely if you're a follower of the Plague God. With your blight drones, because you've got some, haven't you?
Oh,
and
yes.
you've got a greater demon prince, is it?
I do, yeah. I've
Nurgle?
got the Nurgle Demon Prince. I'm a big Nurgle fan.
These all tie in really, really nicely with that sort of army. Or if you've got a mixed version of the Forces of Chaos with your Zinchen, your Slaneshi, your Khornate, and your Nurgle, it'll look really nice on the eyes.
Absolutely. So yeah, 3 sets of sprue with lots of different bits on them.
A lot. I really like
good.
the standard with the the mark of 3 and then the fly wings is quite good.
It really is. Right. Right, so that was looking at the actual sprues themselves.
Yeah.
Now, first off, these are Nurgles. They are, in theory, demons, but they're humans' elevated demon form, because they're Chaos Warriors. They all started as Chaos Warriors.
They're now Chaos Champions, so they're
Yes.
bound into their armour.
Yeah, and then they're gifted.
They're gifted lots of different plagues and practices.
Absolutely, and then they've that's
Swollen up, I suppose.
exactly that's it. Swollen up. You've got some stumpy legs you can see on some of them, and that's why their flesh almost seems too small for them. So it's always tearing, and I really like the look of that. And I like the theme behind them, that these are those the Warriors of Chaos that have proven themselves so much that Nurgle's taken an interest in them, but not enough to actually become demon princes.
Or spawn.
Or spawn. So therefore they're in that kind of halfway stage,
Yeah.
and according to the fluff, they're naturally drawn together, and that's why you get groups of them.
Pretty cool.
Which I think is really
But,
cool.
You know, as a warband sense, you know, because I'd quite happily easily seen one of these convert up would be your Chaos Warlord.
Oh, absolutely. These give you so many options, and for 40k, these will be my Nurgle Terminators.
Yeah, I can easily see
Because
that.
they've got so many different options, I think they're going to look amazing.
Yeah, and it'd be very easy to convert.
Now, with them, there is also a clam pack. Well, first off, let's give you the price point. These are £33.50, I think, around that, 35 for 5 models.
With
Which
a lot of variants.
Well, it seems expensive until you look at the bits and the variants. And actually, they're huge models on oversized bases. It's a really chunky centerpiece unit for your army.
And that's just 5 of them?
And that's just 5,
You know?
yeah.
And if you have double them up, or you have 2 units in the flanks or something?
And that's the thing, if you make a unit of 10, you're not going to have 2 units of 5 exact same models next to each other, which you do in quite a lot of units.
Yeah.
Here you can have 10 of those,
And
which
they're
is
all different.
400 points, and they're all different. So it looks like a whole unit of characters,
Yeah.
and I like that.
You were mentioning Mr. Spume.
Yes, there is a special clam pack plastic figure that came out for these as well. Gutrot Spume is his name.
He is in charge of the largest plague fleet.
He is, absolutely, yeah, because he was a renowned renowned pirate beforehand, and he died fighting a plague kraken, I think it was.
Nice.
And that's, Nurgle was so impressed that he kind of fused them together. So if you look underneath one of his arms, he actually has a kraken bursting out, the beak coming out of it.
Yeah.
And so he has a really odd rule to his unit. If you have him and his unit, they treat water as open terrain.
Now
So-
that's interesting.
And it specifies even impassable water. So if you declared it as impassable terrain, they can walk straight through it.
That's
They get
quite
a charge
interesting.
bonus through it. They get a rank bonus in it.
I'll be
They-
interested
yeah.
to see when the next End Time book comes in, because these
Yes.
are part of the End Time set,
Absolutely.
where that comes in. Because
Well-
I can imagine him coming out of the sea, you know.
Yeah, with
You
his...
think you're safe with your flank on that side?
Well, there's the whole wall that's been put up, isn't there, in the End Times book?
Yeah.
That, I've forgotten the name of the not the Necromancer, he turned to Necromancy, but he wasn't Necromancer when he first put the wall up, and now the wall's crumbling.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be when Nurgle come down with
Surely
Archaon.
Nurgle will have to come down the left side from the Sea of Claws through the Empire, won't they?
Absolutely, yes.
So they're going to have to be a push from there, and they'll probably meet in the middle.
So, as you can tell, we're very excited about the end times. This is the best thing I think Games Workshop have done for a long time.
Most certainly.
I played back when Albion arose.
Oh, the Giants.
Oh, and I loved it when you had the truth, were they Truthsayers and Dark Emissaries?
Yeah.
And the Fen Beasts, and so I love anything that has that story woven behind it, and I love what they're doing with the end times. It's very thematic, and it's very akin to Forge World's Heresy, the way they've released that with the big tombs, slowly adding more for each army. I think it's a really good kind of
way to get people in.
Absolutely, and it's also a good way of renewing interest for veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the unit.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yes, that thing we're reviewing.
That toughness 5, weapon skill 6,
3 wounds each.
a array of armour, a weapon.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, array of weapons. So they, in every single round of combat, they can choose the weapons they use.
Yep.
So they go, oh, there's a large mob of Skaven slays. We'll go for 2-hand weapons.
2-hand weapons.
And then, oh, we've killed that. We're now coming up against
Rat ogres.
The Rat Ogres. We'll go for great weapons.
And then sword and board if we need to.
Exactly. And I love the fact that you can do that. It's a really cool option. And it also means, in theory, you could model each Blight King with a different set of weapons.
Yeah.
And that's technically WYSIWYG.
Yeah.
And as I really am a big fan of playing WYSIWYG, I like that rule. To me, it's nice to be able to look over and see exactly what they're fighting with. And it just makes it all more, thematic for me.
Well,
so I love it.
You'd see your opponent plonk one of those down, you'd be thinking, 3 wounds each, toughness 5.
But then you're like, it's okay, because I've got a Mortark.
Hopefully one of the better ones.
Yes.
But that's right, unless they've got a Magoth.
Oh, Magoths next week. Yes.
So we won't be reviewing them, right?
Oh, and the Toad is an even bigger one the week after. Oh, Games Workshop, what are you doing to me?
It's right. It's your bank balance.
Until next time.
We'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Remember to subscribe to the channel and like us on Facebook for all of your gaming needs.